Greg.
Sometimes you just don't need a rubber in life.
It's all pro.
My beat just went in the car. Oh,
touch.
there it is. Woo.
Actually not that bad. Probably 2 or 3 years if I were to take a wild guess. It's not too terrible. We've just been leaving it out in the sun, letting it heat up, and it's coming off pretty well. It'd be a pretty easy removal, and then we'll go ahead and get ready to start putting the new stuff on it. It's not open yet.
Oh, my hands!
Be careful, man.
I got it.
This is my least favorite thing to do. Least favorite thing to do.
There's your G Wagon hood.
Coming for you. Welcome back, guys, to Adventures at All Pro. Behind me is a 2020 something, I don't know the exact year, G Wagon. This one came to us fully matte wrapped in PPF. The paint is matte black, so they wanted to cover the whole car previously, but now we're going to rip it apart and change it to satin blue PPF by Pure. This is about to look awesome. Let's dive right in. This is going to be a big one. First things first, we have to remove all of this yucky PPF off. Cheyenne's doing that now. We have about half of the car done already. So once all the PPF is removed, then we'll wash it. Then we'll take it apart. Then we will re-wash it. And then we will start the magnificent transformation. As far as PPF transformations and color changes, they're pretty difficult because you want to make sure that you're getting the original color covered. In this case, we have the hardest vehicle ever made to do this job on, but it is a little bit easier because it's black, so we don't have to cover like all of the white in the door jambs if the car was white or red. So it's going to be easier in that sense, but we still have to take it apart. We have to wrap all the edges. Nonetheless, it's still going to be a pain in the ass, but it's going to look good. In terms of G Wagons, we have done a few. We've only done the windshield forward on most of them, but this will be our full transformation on one. The trickiest thing about this is obviously all this trim and stuff needs to come off. I don't know how much we are taking off, but there's a ton of videos on how to take it apart, but I think that's going to be the hardest thing, is just trying to decide what is going to be easier to take off and what's going to be harder to take off, what's going to be beneficial. All right, Cheyenne, so tell all the people what you think so far.
I'm glad it's coming to All Pro. Just the job itself. It needs an All Pro.
My beat just went in the car.
All Pro touch.
There it is. It does need the All Pro touch.
You can even see the whole line of where the PPF was and that gap. Like, that should be covered. Point blank, period.
And it will be covered, folks, once it's blue. Not the worst PPF job on here. Obviously, we don't want to talk bad about other shops. We don't know who did it. But obviously, when you do a color change, it's got to be hidden. It's got to look just like paint, and that's what we're going to do.
So this right here is super, super yellow and super dirty. I just think this PPF is definitely about time for it to be removed and replaced. I'm glad that we're doing a complete color change on this. So this thing should look pretty smooth.
Pure PPF. All right, guys, we are inside. The product is here. Of course, Pure PPF. This is all the color change paint protection film that we've been using. This is a great product. Drum roll for color. Satin chrome blue. This stuff is awesome. I cannot wait to put it on here. It is wet and dry apply, which is pretty cool. So I don't have to use my soapy solution. which is perfect because the bumpers on this are a pain. There's a lot about this car that is a pain, so it's going to be really nice. I'm going to be able to dry install and wet install this vehicle. So stay tuned and we'll get this stuff on. All right, guys, well, we are almost ready to start working. The car is washed. Fender flares are off. That's really the only thing we've taken apart. We still have to take the bumpers off, some emblems and door handles. But when you remove old PPF, it may or may not leave glue. We really only had an issue with a bunch of glue on the roof because the sun kind of just baked the PPF on. Taking it off, it looks like it's been on here for about 4 or 5 years, which is fine. But it's just an extra step that you want to do to make sure the next install goes well. So stay tuned. We'll get this thing ripped apart and start laying film.
Sick. I was talking to Ari over at Pure PPF, and he said that this film is one of their newest, greatest, and latest, and it can be dry applied or wet applied, which gives an install like this a lot of flexibility, especially on a really difficult install. It's not difficult on a installation standpoint, but for the fact that we had to remove a lot on it, it's actually pretty straightforward. But like the fenders are off right now. Like look right here, there's like no fender. But we got full coverage here. You know, it was just loosening these little bolts and a couple little bolts up there, and it just makes an install like this so much easier. This is why these cost $12,000 to $15,000. So if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. But this customer does, so we'll take it. So when we do this, when we print this surround out, we'll pull these windshield wipers off so that we don't have a seam right here. So we need to pop this cap off, pull the bolt out, pull this little sleeve off, and then delete the circle. What we can do is just cut an X across the face of the bolt, slide it across, work that way, slide it across, and then work out to the corners. So this is a specialty tool that we use to pull these windshield wipers off. Instead of taking a rubber mallet or a hammer and trying to beat those things, it just kind of hooks on and then screws towards the center screw and then basically pulls the wiper towards him. We usually just throw like a socket on that edge there. I like to put a towel behind the windshield wiper there, just in case something falls off, it doesn't hit that glass and break that windshield.
Accidents happen.
They sure do. Push the windshield, there you go, perfect, awesome, that easy. We'll unscrew that rubber off. Sometimes you just don't need a rubber in life. So guys, so day 2, team has already started laying more film. So yesterday on day 1, we got the fenders done. We got the little pieces behind the fenders done. You saw me working on that yesterday. And then Greg and Cheyenne stayed late yesterday and knocked out a couple doors. We'll show you that in a second. This morning we've been working on the windshield surround. It's been spending a lot of detail on that piece, even though it's not a huge surface area piece around the glass. We took the time yesterday to disassemble all the windshield wiper bases and the bolts and the washers and stuff for a really clean install. Typically a clear pattern has a seam right here, but we deleted that, extended all the edges, tucked behind the plastic rail here, and then this will roll behind the hood. So a lot of intricate work here first, and then we're gonna move on to the hood. I've already got the bumpers and the grill all separated, so we're gonna have to do inlays for the flares and the front end. We'll start putting that together. And then me and Greg are going to work on the roof later this afternoon. So day 3 should be probably the back of the vehicle and some of the intricate stuff on the front, but she's coming right along. See you soon.
Honestly, one of these, you can do any car. Progress update, ladies and gents. Almost done. Very tedious, very time consuming.
We are not close to being done. We are not close to being done. I have to finish the front end.
We have a lot to do, but we're still almost done. Obviously, I'm in the middle of laying this side. With this being pure PPF, it is a dry apply and wet apply. That's why it's all crinkled right now, because I'm doing this whole entire side, which is actually one piece, and then it seams right up here by Cheyenne's fingers. It's gonna be right in this body line right here. And then everything else goes around all the doors, around the gas cap, all the way to the back. Very tedious and time consuming. The other side will be a little bit harder because we have the hatch on the rear end. So I have to work around these, but I can just shut this. These are a pain to take off. I don't think there's a need for us to try and take these hinges off, take the entire door off, trying to realign the door. That's just a risk waiting to happen. So there's going to be a little seam in the very back behind the hinges. You're not even going to see them anyway. But that's really going to be the only challenge on this side. And then we got bumpers and roof. So time to get rocking.
All right, last piece on this vehicle. I'm done. I saved the last panel, or the hardest panel, for last. Go. Dry apply. These G Wagon bumpers have this really weird bowl turn on the ends, on the front and rear. If we go over here behind Yeti to this one, I put a really clean relief cut right here on this body line, and just adding a 3-inch relief cut fixes this entire area when you start to bunch up with the material. So super clean way we did it here. I'm gonna go ahead and mimic that on the other side. You put a little stretch on a flat panel left to right. That'll really help this material when it flips over. You honestly have to have paint protection film experience and vinyl wrap experience to pull something like this off. That's the only way this film is going to work. This industry is going to be one of those industries that's probably going to be a slow moving industry, because it's going to require a really specific skill set to pull off. And a lot of shops, one, can't afford a really expensive installer that can do both. We're limited on that skill set, but I've got it. Air grass material, wet applied PPF. It can be dry applied. You can hear all that air escaping. It's an awesome product by Pure. So we're gonna plan on putting that relief cut right here on this body line. So we're gonna save the top for last, because what I like to do is pull the side over first, put my cut in, and then I'll take this top section and actually pull it this direction, which will widen all my fingers across the top edge, and then all that will flip in really nicely. And then what I'll do is I'll heat up this seam here, card it, and then I'll trim right on the edge. And then once I put a little bit of heat on it, it'll kind of just shrink down and grab, and it'll butt seam really nicely. Pro tip.
outside, guys. This thing is finally finished, and man, this car takes the cake for the hardest vehicle to wrap. What did we do? We took all of the old matte paint protection film off of the vehicle, ripped this thing down to the frame just about, and then installed this Frozen Sapphire Pure PPF blue, and this thing just looks stunning. It's incredible. We got black badges on instead of the chrome ones all the way around the vehicle. That's really about it for modifications, but every single thing that can be wrapped blue is wrapped blue on here. So lots of time, lots of sweat, lots of late nights, lots of love, and here we are. We're finally finished. So, all right, we have a few more projects in the shop that we're keeping a little secret from you guys. We have a lot to come. Stay tuned, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.